Hello learners, I am Professor Munish Kumar Bhardwaj from School of Engineering and Technology, and today we will discuss about safety in works at height. As you know, in construction industry, workers are required to work at heights because the construction activity is going from ground to the upward. So after a certain height, they need to have some support, some platform to work. And as this construction goes on, then as the height of that construction increases, they need to work at more heights, and for that they need a stable platform to work, to stand, and to store their material also. So this working at height is a very challenging job basically, because when you are working at the ground, there may be mistakes, but these mistakes will not turn into any fatal accident. Until you are not dealing with power tools, or by mistake you are not exposed to electrocution and so many things which may be fatal at working when you are working at ground. But when you are working at height, then there are additional challenges, because when you are working at height, so if a simple mistake of falling off a tool from your hand, it may become fatal, because if it goes on the head of a person who is working on the ground, then the injury caused by this falling tool may be fatal. Or if the worker slips from a height, from the platform at a height, then this slip may be very costly to the life. So this working at height is very challenging in itself basically, and we are going to talk about the safety aspects in working at heights basically. So as I told you that when these workers are working at height, they need some platform to work basically, and these platform are provided by the scaffolding basically. You might have come across such type of network or mesh when you are passing by a construction site. This network of horizontal and vertical members is called basically scaffolding. And this purpose of this scaffolding is to provide proper platform to the workers who are working at height basically. So what is scaffolding? If we define scaffolding, then we can define it as scaffolding is a temporary structure used in building construction made up of platforms at intervals which are used to access higher levels of a building. Means to reach at a higher level of the building where the work has to be done by the workers. We need these temporary structures. These platforms are used as work surfaces or for storing materials or for climbing up. Because the worker has to reach at that working place at a height, so it acts as a used for climbing up, also to stand and work there, and also to keep their tools and the material with which the worker is working basically. So this is the purpose of providing the scaffold. These scaffolds are used not just during construction of building. These are also used for when you need to do the maintenance of the building, or if the building has reached its life, then a new construction is inevitable. And when you are doing new construction, then before that you have to demolish the old structure. So at the time of demolition also, the worker has to reach at height, and at that time also the worker need the scaffold to work at height. So while constructing, during maintenance and during demolition, all three stages need the platform to work at height, and this platform is provided by the scaffold. So this is the need or the use of the scaffold basically. Once the construction work or the demolition work is over, then this is dismantled, means it is removed from that site. So because of that, it is called the temporary structure. Because when you need to work at height, you erect this structure, and after finishing the work, you are removing this. So that way it becomes a temporary structure. Then just look at this graphics. It will give you some pictorial view that how does it look like, what are its components basically. So these are shown here. As we can see, there are horizontal as well as vertical members. You see this is horizontal member. These are horizontal members. There are vertical members also. So these horizontal members are called as ledgers. And these vertical members in the scaffold are called standard or uprights. There are some diagonal members also. These are provided for additional stability of the scaffold. These are called braces. This is the platform which is provided to where the worker is standing or keeping their tool and the material to work basically. There you see a base plate which is providing a you can say base for transferring the load of this scaffold to the ground basically. So these are different type of members here. You see here that toe board also, just to avoid any fall of that material or tools, or even that safety for the worker. Then this is guardrail for the safety of the worker, so that worker does not fall. So these are some of the important members shown here in the scaffold. And how does this scaffold look like basically? Just to show that this pictorial view is shown to you. Let us see closely what are different members basically. So as you see here, number 1, this is here the adjustable base plate. Adjustable in the sense that you can increase or decrease the height basically here. Then number 2 here is a base collar, which is providing that fitting arrangements for this different uprights or the standards. Then number 3, the vertical member, as I told you. This is a standard or upright. Then this cross member you see in another direction, in horizontal direction basically. This is support ledger. This 5, this is ledger in horizontal direction. So these are some of the members. Here you see the adjustable base plate. How does it look like? It's a close view basically. This is the adjustable base plate basically, and this is capped on the wooden sole plate here. This is upright. This is your ledger in 2 directions. Then this is the diagonal member or bracing. Some few members are also shown here. You see that these number 6 here shown. These are additional horizontal members between these ledgers basically. They are for the safety of the worker, so that they do not fall. These are called as the guardrails. These are the guardrails, as number 6 shown here. And number 7 here, These are end guardrails, means on the other side, at the end of this scaffold, some small size guardrails you see here, these are called the end rails, so that the worker do not fall from the end of this. By mistake, if he overstep this scaffold or the platform, he is saved by these end guardrails. And then I earlier told you this diagonal brace, number 8. And then number 9, you see here this is the scaffold deck or platform basically, where the worker will stand and work. Then number 10, you see that this is in red, basically the toe board is provided so that he does not overfoot. Then number 11, you see here the anchoring. So these are some of the members or the component of the scaffolding. Now, what are these different components? How we define them? How we identify them? Let us see these. First of all, the standard or the uprights. As I told you, these standard or uprights are the vertical members. Basically, they are metallic, made of metal basically, so metallic members. These are generally of round shape, so generally called as that O shape basically. And these are meant to transfer the load of the scaffold to the foundation or to the ground basically. Then ledger. Ledger are the horizontal members which ties the standards or upright at right angles and which may support putlocks or the transoms. What are putlocks and transoms? I'll tell you later. So these are horizontal members. As I told you that vertical members are standard uprights and the horizontal members are ledgers. Let us see that putlock or borer. What are these putlock? A scaffold member is spanning from ledger to ledger or from ledger to standard to a building and upon which the platform rests. Means when you see that there is a wall is being constructed, and while constructing these walls, we are leaving some opening in the walls. These openings are used to put the horizontal members of the scaffold. You might have seen in the scaffold that some members are taking support of the wall, means they are running into the wall. These are called as a putlock basically. So here the wall is providing support to the scaffolding. One end of this putlock is kept on the ledger or tied to the ledger, and other end is going into the opening that is left in the wall. So that way this putlock is to get support from the wall basically. These are generally provided in single scaffolds basically, in which there is a one line of standards or uprights only. As you can see here in this graphics also, these horizontal members which are running from ledger to the wall, these are putlocks. All these are the putlocks. All these are putlocks. Then what is transom and how these are different from the putlock? Transoms are the members basically which rest on two standards or the uprights basically, or two ledgers. Means they are connected to between the two ledgers or the two uprights basically. They are not running into the wall basically. They are not taking the support of the wall basically. So these are also like putlock, these are also the horizontal members, but the difference is that in case of putlock, one end is resting on the ledger and another end of the putlock is running into the wall to get support. Whereas in case of transom, its both ends are connected to either two ledgers or two uprights. As you can see here in this graphics, These are transom, which are taking support or which are connected to the two uprights. One this yellow upright, another upright this, and between these, this member, horizontal member, which is in blue basically, this is now transom. This is the transom basically. So it is not running into wall basically to get support. So that way it is different from the put log. Then bracings or braces, as I told you earlier also, these are the diagonal members basically which are providing stability to the scaffolding. So these are connected, generally these are connected between the uprights, two uprights, one upright this, one upright this diagonal member. Here also this diagonal member. So these are the braces. So these are provided to provide the stability to the scaffold so that there is no movement, lateral movement in the scaffolding. The bracing is a system which is made up of the braces basically, these diagonal members basically that prevent the distortion of the scaffold. Next is guardrail. What is guardrail here and what is the purpose? Guardrail are the horizontal rails basically which are secured to the uprights and erected along the exposed edges of the scaffold to prevent workmen from falling. As it is clear from its name, guard rail. It is guarding, means providing safety to the worker so that by mistake the worker should not fall. It provides a safety to that worker at the height basically. So you can see the guardrail here in this graphics. This one top horizontal member, this is guardrail. This is now because its purpose is just for the safety of the worker to avoid any fall of the worker, and it is not playing any role in load transfer mechanism of the scaffold basically. So this top which is look like a, you can say it's a ledger basically, top ledger, but ledger is to provide that or take part in that load transfer mechanism, but here this member is not taking any part in load transfer mechanism. This is now called as a guardrail because its purpose is to provide safety to the worker basically, to avoid any case of falling from the height basically. Then another member which is used in scaffold is toe board. And this what is this toe board? It is a barrier placed along the edge of the scaffold platform and secured there to guard against the falling of material and equipment. Because your tools or some material may slip from the platform, so this toe board is provided so that any tool, small tools or your some material do not slip from the platform and do not fall to the ground. Because if these tools and the materials fall on the ground, it may hit a person who is working underneath this platform at the ground level basically. Then another member is racker. This is an inclined member fixed to a scaffold to ensure its stability. So it is very clear that these inclined members or diagonal members, these are provided to provide stability to the scaffold to avoid any distortion of the scaffold basically. Then ties, these are the members which are used to tie a scaffold for a structure to prevent horizontal movement of scaffold. So here the purpose of tie is to avoid any horizontal movement of the scaffold basically. So it keeps the members of or the component of the scaffold in place. There is no movement in the components of the scaffold. So this is the purpose of the tie. Next we move to the types of scaffold. What are different types of scaffold? Different type of scaffold may be summarized as, one is independent or double pole scaffold. Another one is connected or single pole scaffold. So this idea you can get from that name, that double pole or single pole basically means, double pole means there are two lines of uprights. Single pole means there is single line of uprights. So that way. Then another type is tower scaffold. So it looks like a tower basically. So that way it is called as a tower scaffold. Then cantilever scaffold means from the main scaffold, sometimes you need to reach at a point where you cannot reach standing on the main scaffold basically. So to reach at these corners or some inaccessible points from there, you need to make some cantilever type of scaffold basically, where this is not supported at the ground, whereas it is projecting from the main scaffold, projecting out from the main scaffold basically, and providing platform to the workers. So that way it is called as the cantilever scaffold, because of its shape is made as a cantilever basically. Then suspended scaffold, in which this I'll show you that picture, that how does it look like basically, this suspended scaffold. Then sometimes we have the work of some nature that where we need to shift or move from one place to another place frequently, just like whitewashing or plastering basically. So at certain portion is done, work is done basically at certain portion. Now we move to the after some time, after 1 hour, 2 hour, we need to move, or 4 hours, we need to move to the other place in the at the same project basically, to slightly move something around 2 meter or 3 meters horizontally to other place basically. So there it is very difficult to erect scaffold, dismantle and then erect. Then after completion of that work, then again dismantle and erect the scaffold at a gap of 3 meter or 4 meter basically, or 2 meter basically. So for such works basically, where that frequent movement from one place to another place on the same work is required, there we provide the mobile scaffold. And as it is clear from its name, mobile scaffold means it has mobility, means you can move this from one point to the another point. So because it is having the rollers basically. So with this help, so at one place, if there's such type, such as in whitewashing case, some portion is done, then adjacent, for doing the work in the adjacent portion, you need to move the scaffold. So you can just unlock these wheels of this scaffold and move this and lock the scaffold, and then you can use it. So that way we need the mobile scaffold in case of whitewashing or plastering work basically. That way, where frequent movement is required from one place to the another place. So let us see what are these different type of scaffold, how they are made up of, what is their action, and how do these look like basically. So first we take that independent or double pole scaffold. Independent we are calling it because in this case, in this scaffold, the scaffold is not taking support of any wall or any structure basically. So it is self-sufficient to take its load basically. It is not sharing its load to some wall or some structure. So it can withstand by its own structure and need not to get any support from the wall or some other structure. So that way we are calling it independent. Because it is having that two lines or 2 rows of uprights basically. So that way we are calling as a double pole. So because This independent scaffold is made up of the double pole, basically 2 lines or the 2 queues of the uprights. So that is, we are calling it independent or double pole scaffold. First name came from the action, how it is transferring the load, and second came by its construction, that how we are constructing it, what number of uprights are being used, how many number of rows or these lines of uprights are being used. So that way these 2 names are there. These scaffolds are standalone structures. Standalone because they are not taking support of any wall or any other structure. So it can withstand, it can take their load by its own, basically. So that way it is called the standalone structure. And these are anchored to the ground using its own mechanism. That at the ground, basically, they have their own mechanism to transfer the load and to get stability, basically. This may be tied to the building or a structure but does not take its support. Because in case of some heavy winds, there may be some lateral movement. So just to avoid any case of some lateral movement or some distortion due to the heavy winds, basically, it may be anchored to some structure. Otherwise, they are for as far as the load transfer mechanism is concerned, they need not to get any support for load transfer, only anchoring purpose. So this kind of scaffold consists of a framework of tubular members in horizontal and vertical directions connecting to each other using the coupling members. So as I told you, the horizontal members are the ledgers, vertical members are uprights, and these are connected by the use of couplers, basically. So that way 2 lines or the 2 rows of the uprights or the vertical members, then ledgers are provided, and these connection is made between the ledger and the coupler by the ledger and the uprights by the couplers, basically. So these are connected there. Here you can see this picture of this independent or double pole scaffold. Here you see the 2 lines or the 2 rows of the uprights. This is one, another one, this one, this upright, this upright, and this is that transom, and these are the ledgers. This is ledger, this is ledger, this is transom. These are transoms in horizontal direction, basically. At the end you see this is the platform. So this is the independent or the double pole scaffold, basically. These, as I told you earlier also, in this scaffold the vertical members are called uprights or standards, and they are secured to the ground, means they are resting on the ground, basically. Horizontal tubes are secured to these uprights, means these ledgers are secured to these uprights or the vertical members, and these horizontal members run in 2 directions, basically. One 90 degree to the building, basically, and another one running parallel to the face of the building. The horizontal members which are running parallel to the face of the building are called ledgers. So if this is the wall, basically, so any member which is parallel to the wall, those are the ledgers, basically. And if this is wall and any member, horizontal member, which is at the 90 degree to the wall, these are called the transom. The platform of the scaffolding rests on these horizontal members, that is ledgers and the transoms. So this working platform is supported by these ledgers and the transoms, basically. Then another one is, second one is connected or single pole or put-log scaffold. So it is getting its name. You see here 3 names, and 3 names are because of either its action of load transfer mechanism, or that number of queues or lines of the pole, and that what type of that members are used to take the support of the structures. So first one is connected because they are connected to the wall basically to get the support. Single pole because they are using single line of uprights, and put logs because we are using put logs which is providing getting the support of the wall. So I hope you are enjoying this discussion. So we will continue this discussion after a short break. So we'll meet soon. Thank you.
Do you know that the world's population has reached 8 billion on 15th November 2022? And we are still counting. I don't know where do we go from here. The predictions are scary. Any idea how many people can Mother Earth sustain? India's growing population is a serious concern, and we are soon going to become the world's most populous country. Wow, number one. Population is, after all, a human issue. The UN proposed Sustainable Development Goals cannot be achieved unless and until we consider the population dynamics. So, here we are. Indira Gandhi National Open University offers appreciation course on population and sustainable development. The course explores the linkages between population and sustainable development. In this course, there are diverse issues related to population, environmental safety, livelihoods, human health, migration, urbanization, and much more. The course duration is 3 months, but of course, you can complete it within a year. The eligibility of the course is graduation from a recognized university. So, if you are a development professional, working in a government sector, researcher, or keen to know more about the population and sustainable development, the course is must for you. Hurry up and join this course so that we are able to convert population into demographic dividend and not convert it into demographic disaster. For more information, visit www.ignou.ac.in. Thank you.
So welcome back learners. We were discussing about the safety in works at height, and in this we were discussing about the scaffold. So we were discussing about the different type of scaffold, and I told you about one type of scaffold which was independent or double pole scaffold, and then we were discussing about the connected or single pole or put log scaffold. So I told you how it got its name basically, that it is connected to or taking support from a wall, so that is why it is called as connected. Single pole because it is using for its construction, it is using a single line of uprights basically. And put log scaffold because here we are using put logs which are connect at one end, they are connected to the ledgers, and other end of these horizontal members are put into the wall to get support, to provide support to the scaffold and take part in the load transfer mechanism basically. So that is why these names are given to this type of scaffold. Single pole or this putlog scaffold are also called bricklayers scaffold. Because these are generally used when we are using the brick masonry construction, and while constructing a brick wall basically, we are leaving some gaps or the holes in the brick wall, and in these holes or these openings basically, these putlogs are going into it and rest there basically to provide the support to or to help the load transfer mechanism in this type of scaffold. The weight of this scaffold rests partially on the uprights and partially on the building under construction, which is typically at a bricklaying stage. As I told you that during the construction we are leaving some openings or hole in the wall, and in these hole or the openings these horizontal members of the putlogs are going into it and providing, and other end is secured to the ledgers basically. So that way these putlogs are helping in load transfer mechanism in this case, in this type of scaffold basically. These scaffolds are quite stable and resistant to wind force because they are taking support from the permanent structure, stable structure, that is wall basically. So that way these are quite stable and can sustain heavy winds also, because there will be no distortion or no lateral movement, because these putlogs are providing support basically, which are resting on a permanent structure, that is the wall basically. That way these are quite stable. Here you can see this single pole or putlog scaffold. As you see, this is these are the uprights, these are the ledgers, and these are the putlogs, which are the horizontal members in another direction, means 90 degree to the wall basically, and one end it is tied here or secured with a coupler to the ledger and or the upright here, and another end is going into the wall. So that way these horizontal members which are at 90 degree to the wall, these are the putlogs basically. Here this is a platform where the worker is standing and he will be working there. So this is how it looks like basically. Simple scaffold I have shown you, simplest one you can say. So here what are the other characteristics? Single row of uprights is used here, hence it is called single pole scaffold, as I told you. What is the advantage of this type of scaffold? Here the advantage is that you need less number of members, because these you get these members for making the scaffold, these members you get on hire basically. So here, because on one side there is no row of uprights, you are saving that number of uprights being used for construction or its erection of the scaffold. So here the less number of members are used in this scaffold, so you can save money basically. And another advantage, as I told you, that these are quite stable and there is no distortion or any lateral movement during the heavy winds because of these putlogs which are provided there basically. The single row of uprights are not secured to the ground in isolation one by one. Here this is very important. In case of double pole or independent, there we are providing the independent you can say base plate or the support, and they are resting on the ground basically. But here we are not doing it as one independently one by one, rather we are using a pair of uprights, and these pair of uprights are supported by a single timber base which is called as the sole board. So for a pair of uprights, one sole board is there, where in case of the double pole or independent, we are providing this sole board for individual upright basically. The gap between the uprights is not more than 2 meter and they are set at a distance of 1.3 meter from the wall. So these are some of that you can say standard dimensions, that between the uprights the gap should not be more than 2 meters between the two vertical members, and the distance from the wall where from it is getting support basically, this should not be more than 1.3 meter basically. Why? Because this ensures that 5 boards can be placed on the transoms. The transoms are connected on the inside of uprights at a height of not more than 2 meter from the ground level or lesser as per the work demands. The putlocks and the transom together carry the weight of the scaffold. Here, what is the load transfer mechanism? That the transoms and the putlocks, they together are carrying the load basically. The placement of the putlock also follows certain thumb rule and is dependent on the thickness of the board or the platform placed on them. This placement of the putlocks, that at what spacing the putlocks will be provided, this will depend upon the thickness of the platform or the board. If thickness is more, then this distance can be kept more. If thickness is less, because if thickness is less and if you are keeping this putlock at a large distance, so there will be a deflection of that putlock, this platform basically. So the distance of the putlocks depends upon the thickness of the board, which is being used as a platform to stand for a worker basically. For a 38 mm thick board, the putlocks are placed at 1.5 meter center to center from each other basically. The portion of the putlocks which are placed inside the gaps in the brickwork are usually flattened and are inserted by at least 75 mm. Means the end of that putlock should go into the wall at least 75 mm. There may be chance of these putlocks getting displaced from the gaps in the brick during the course of construction. In order to avoid this displacement, what we do, bracings are provided at angle of 45 degree to the horizontal and running from face of the building to the full height of the upright at every 30 meter. So this precaution is taken to make our scaffolding safe basically. Then another type of scaffold, as I told you, is tower scaffold. The tower scaffolds are freestanding structures used for work at height and uses as alternative to the ladders basically. Because working with ladders is not that much safe basically. So in place of where you are working with ladders, so in place of ladders, it is preferred to work with the tower scaffold basically. They are also called by name of access towers or scaffold towers. What is the advantage of using such type of scaffolds over the ladder? The advantage is that these scaffolds can be used for work at height which involve long duration and eliminate the risk of imbalance which the ladders are prone to. Means what is the problem with the ladders is that worker cannot stand for a long time and work there at the ladders. Second thing is that these ladders are prone to imbalance because there that worker is working on a single pole basically. Instead of platform in ladder, he is getting only a single pole type of thing basically. So making a balance at the ladder is a challenge, and you cannot work for long standing on a ladder. So where the worker is supposed to work for longer hours, So it is better to use use tower scaffold instead of the ladders. And here there is no problem of imbalancing also, because here a proper platform is provided to stand and work for the worker. So he or she can work for the longer hours with proper safety and security. This is because unlike the ladders, they are self-supporting and not leaning to the wall or any other vertical support system. This is the picture. Basically, you can see how this tower scaffold looks like. So here you see that there is a access is provided to climb up in this tower scaffold basically. So these stairs are provided there. So this is how this tower scaffold look like. They consist of work platform which help in a wider range of movement for the worker, which a ladder cannot provide. For example, a painter can stand on the top of the platform and can place the paint cans, brushes and other accessories next to him on the platform. These tower scaffolds can be mobile or immobile, both type. If you are providing that caster wheels, then it becomes mobile. If no wheels, then it is immovable. So we can say that tower scaffold provide all the functions of a ladder with additional provision for stable working platforms, making a better choice than a ladder. So this shows that how they have an edge over the ladders basically. Another type of scaffold, I told you that there is one a type is cantilever scaffold. So another name is outrigger also. Outrigger or the cantilever scaffold shall mean a scaffold where the platform of which is supported by the outriggers or thrust out projecting from the building basically, the inner ends of which are secured inside the building. This is the picture. How does it look like? This scaffold basically. This is this cantilever scaffold, because this is the main scaffold, and from this it is projecting out basically. It is and there is no upright going directly to the ground basically. It is projecting out, and it is getting support through these diagonal members basically, which are connected to the uprights at different levels. So this is used where there is a situation that work has to be done away from that main structure, and where we cannot take our uprights to the ground, because there may be some swimming pool or some such type of structure where we are not allowed to place the putlocks on the ground, these uprights on the ground. So in such situations, this cantilever scaffold is used basically. Then another type of scaffold is suspended scaffold, and this is generally, you might have seen that while cleaning that glass of the buildings, where the large amount of glass is used, means that whole of this one face of the building is made up of the glass. So after some time it get dirts and it become very dirty. So these glasses are to be cleaned basically. So for that purpose, this suspended scaffold is used, as you can see in this picture, that how this suspended scaffold look like. Then mobile scaffold. Earlier also during this discussion, I told you that these scaffold are mobile basically. These are having that wheels at the base basically. So when you are using these mobile scaffold, that at one place the work is completed, you need to shift to the another place. So using these wheels you can shift it, and then again you lock these wheels and you can start working there. So this is the purpose or the use of these mobile scaffold, that whenever there is a frequent need of transferring or moving these scaffold, where this mobile scaffold is used basically. Then trestle or that ghoda bilkul that is called, this is a self-supporting framework of timber or metal on which a working platform is laid. So it is generally used for a low height work basically, and where that a small quantity of work is used, and a single worker generally is using such type of support system for working at a lesser heights. This is not used for a large heights basically. Then jhula or bostwian chair. This is used for in place of, you can say, the suspended scaffold, where only one worker is working and just cleaning the glasses or painting some walls, such type of work. This jhula or that bostwian chair is used basically. This also comes under that scaffold category basically. Now let us see what are the safety standards related to the scaffold. So IS codes are developed related to these scaffold work basically, and different type of IS code which are developed basically are here. IS 3696 part 1, it is Indian standard on safety code for scaffolds and ladders, and part 1 of this code covers the scaffold work. IS 2750 Indian standard specification for steel scaffolding. Then IS 40141 code of practice for steel tubular scaffolding. It has two parts. Part 1 is definitions and materials, in which only the definitions and the different type of materials are explained. And in part 2 there are safety provisions for scaffolding. So these are the three important IS codes which deals with the safety of the scaffolds basically. So when you are dealing with the scaffold while designing or doing the erection of scaffold, you must have the guidelines given in these codes in your mind, so that you are designing or erecting a safe scaffold. Because unsafe scaffold means you are posing threat to the life of the worker. So that way the safety of a scaffold is very much necessary for the sake of the safety of the worker. Every life is very meaningful, and we must save the lives of the worker. Then why scaffold safety is important? As I told you that if scaffold is not safe, then it is posing threats to the life of the worker. And it is our duty that we should provide a safe working environment to the workers. So that way, whenever there is a work at height, these scaffolds are required, and to make the workers feel safe so that they can work without any fear, so that there is no accident, so that there is no injury to the workers. So we need to make our scaffold safe. So and if we take some estimate, then we can see that more than 60% of construction related deaths are attributed to falling from height. So this gives you an idea that why we should worry about the safety of the scaffold. Because in construction work, more than 60% of the fatal accidents or that these casualties are because of the fall from a height, basically. What are different type of hazards while working on a scaffold? We should know these so that we can make scaffold work safe. These hazards are electrical hazards, fall hazards, and falling object hazards. These are the three important things. In addition to these three hazards are related whenever a scaffold is strong and stable. If somehow we have designed a wrong scaffold, then there have been cases in the past of collapse of scaffold. So that is another hazard. So first and foremost important thing is to design a stable and safe scaffold. Then second comes the erection. Even after designing a safe or stable scaffold, if erection is not done properly, if the members are not secured properly, then also collapse of scaffold may occur. So these at two stages, one is designing, another is erection. One has to be very cautious. Then if a stable scaffold is constructed, then comes another type of hazards, which are the three that I told you. That electrical hazard means whenever your scaffold is near some overhead electrical lines, so there may be chance of electrocution to the workers. Then second is fall hazard. That if proper guardrails and tow boards are not provided, in that case the fall hazard is very important. Then third is falling object hazard. Means the tools which the worker is using or the material which the worker is working with, if by chance, by mistake, if it falls from that height and somebody is working at ground beneath this platform, so it may, that material or the tools that is falling from a height, it may hit that person and it may be fatal basically. So that way these are the three hazards when we are working with the scaffold. So what we can do for electrical safety? Proper clearance between the scaffold equipment and power lines should be there. Clearance must be maintained when scaffolds are erected, used, dismantled, altered or moved. So we have to be very careful while doing all these things. So if we keep all these things in mind, we can avoid the electrical hazards. So I hope you must have enjoyed this discussion. I expect that you will go through your course material, and if any query or question comes to your mind, you can raise those questions in our next session, in which we will meet and discuss further about the safety in works at height. Thank you.